Cool. All right, there we go. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited. I love this topic. Um, I have been I watch a lot of Facebook groups and different things, and one of the things that I noticed a lot of is parents asking, um, you know, what do I do with my 1 year old? What do I do with my 2 year old? What do I do with my 3 year old? What do I do with my 4 year old? And I'm like, okay, that there's a lot in there. And the answer for a lot of it is you don't need to do much. So, I just want to check. Can you see both me and my screen? Just give me like a thumbs up or cool. Okay, very good. So, yeah, so that's kind of the motivation behind this is recognizing that there are so many people with this pressure from society to put their kid in school as early as possible, or even the pressure from seeing people homeschool in the Pinterest social media world where it looks like their 18-month-old is sitting down at the table writing their letters and there's all this great stuff going on. And I just want to take the pressure off of anybody and everybody who is struggling to wonder, is my kid behind? Am I doing them a disservice? Are they struggling, or am I ruining them by not starting them in school right away, not putting them in public school? No, the answer is no. You're not ruining them. They're not behind. And so homeschooling is supposed to be a joy and it's supposed to be an adventure. And so as soon as you pick up the pressures and the stress from anything or anybody else, I want you just to put them back down because they're not for you. And we want to look at what do our kids need at these early ages to determine what we really can and should be doing while we're homeschooling. And the beauty of it is, I love it when moms ask, but they say, I can't teach. I'm not a teacher. But you are. You teach your children to eat. You teach them to speak. You teach them how to put on their shoes and their clothes, to tie their shoes, to brush their teeth. You teach them how to sit at the table properly, what's expected for meals. You teach them how to behave in different situations and settings, how to get along with their siblings. You do teach. We have this misnomer that teaching is standing up in front of a class, presenting a formal lesson, having all of these things figured out. It's not. And I've learned more from homeschooling my kids than I think maybe not more than I did in school, but I definitely learned things that I didn't learn in school, if that makes sense. So I have enjoyed this journey with my kids because even though I'm a certified teacher, I have 20 years teaching in different settings in a variety of different places and 15 years of homeschool consulting under my belt. There are still things that I do with my kids and I go, wow, I had no idea. Or I understand a math concept and I go, all these years, I finally get it now. So you don't have to know everything to get them started. And as the mom, you are the best person positioned to set them up for what they need. And so you know your kid better than anyone. Um, One of the other things I noticed is that a trend among the students when I was doing tutoring is that the average grade for tutoring would come to me around fourth grade, and they would come to me for reading. And I'd ask the parents, well, when did they start to read? And most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, the parents would say, oh, they were an early reader. They started reading at 4 or 3. And I go, oh, there's your problem. Most kids, when they learn to read at an early age, they learn to memorize. And then they rely on their memorization skills. And then they're not taught phonics. They're not taught how to read, how to break words apart, how to recognize syllables, how to ask questions. So they get to about third, fourth grade level, and suddenly their memorization skills don't match their reading level anymore. Their books are getting harder and harder, and they don't have the ability to hold that many words. So, early is not always better. And I always want to tell parents like it's okay if your kid is learning how to read at their pace. It's okay if your kid they should be picking up on letters and numbers, but without the pressure to be performing at a reading level if they're not getting the tools and the strategies for actually decoding and not just memorizing. And that's kind of a whole other topic, but that's just an example of where I just want to, where we're going with this today, that we don't have to start rigid academics early. To make learning a chore early in life is to lose a learner for life. It can be really hard to regain that joy of learning and that love of investigating and finding things out if we make learning a chore and we make it really hard to start with, because those early memories are really core. And so we want to build up an environment for our children to learn in, whether you homeschool or not, that creates and cultivates that learner in them, that the curiosity, the desire to ask questions and to investigate for themselves. A lot of my methods that, or my kind of my philosophies for this come from a book that I read years ago called Better Late Than Early. And I'll have a list of resources at the end where it's listed. The book is unfortunately out of print now, but you can find it used. It's such a good book. And it really just talks about how the importance of letting children develop before we push them into structured things. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but here's where we're at. So we're going to look at the ages from 3 to 7. Before that, they're just let them be babies, let them play, give them exciting new environments and textures and sounds and foods and take your kids places and let them see and hear and touch and feel. Um, Up until that point, a lot of their learning is through, the sensory of the mouth. Um, find things that they can, touch and play with, but there is absolutely no need to do any sort of curriculum or structured anything before 3. And at 3, I'm going to show you even what that means because there's hardly a need for it then. Preschool was kind of developed in our culture out of a need for daycare. Parents went to work. Moms weren't as much a stay at home anymore. They had to work. We needed the dual income. And so kids went to daycare. So we kind of created this preschool idea of that we can do academics at 3. And really what that should be is what we're going to talk about here. So let's go to, wow, it is doing something I don't want it to do. It is not letting me move my slides. Okay, it did this to me earlier. Okay. Hang with me for just a moment here. Um, it, okay. Let's see. I might need to get this to stop share for a moment if I can get, even my mouse has disappeared. Oh no. There it is down. Okay. We're going to do a stop share for a second. And okay. Should. Okay, let's try this again. Let me come back. And we're going to it doesn't, let me see. I'm going to pause the recording for just a second. We're recording again, and there's my share button. There we go. Technology is so fun when it works. Okay, let's see if what I don't want is this option down here. That's what I don't want it to do. Let's see. Let's try one more time, or I might just leave it at this. Okay, well, we're gonna see if we can get this. Yay, there we go. Okay, now we're working. Okay, so our first stage that we're going to look at is the 3 to 4 years. So the things that are important during this time is play. This is the most important thing. Movement, that they are climbing and jumping and they're figuring out what their body can do, and let them explore their limits of things safely. Encourage security by encouraging them to go just a little bit further and then, oh, mom's still here and we're still safe. Engage the imagination, encourage that, encourage the play. So when we sit kids in front of screens, which I've done, my kids had tablets and things and television, but when we just sit them down with either screens or battery operated things or something that does it for them, we actually remove the imagination aspect. And so we want to, especially in this time, give them toys and activities that uh, inspire creativity, imagination. They have to think of what to do with it. They need to be using their brain for play and not just have something that you push a button and it makes a sound. That's really just kind of feeding that instant gratification kind of thing. And, those toys are okay to have, but if we're talking about the academic focus and how to, this homeschool mindset, if I want to raise my kid, I want to prepare them for learning, here we are. We want to engage the imagination. That imagination is going to be critical for them at their entire life, really. It's the ability to, it'll feed into the ability to creatively solve problems, to see things differently when they have learned that their imagination is good. Okay. And they need family bonding time. So they really still need that security, that time with parents. They need to be learning through relationships, so not just by themselves, but actually engaging with one another. That's why those play groups are really great, where they're learning to play with other kids and different ages. Is one of the benefits of homeschooling when you get into co-ops and groups and these different things, is that your kids are playing with kids of different ages. And I think that's so much more valuable than just being with their peers, because there's no other time in our life that we're in a room or an environment with just our peers. Um, so really the best school at this age is in your lap and in your backyard. Like those are the best places. Um, they have short attention spans, so just use what their attention is, what they have attention for, reading books. Um, Reading is probably the best thing that you can be doing with them in the evenings or during time. Just pull out books, have lots and lots of books available for them to look at, for you to read ad nauseum. That's actually really good for developing reading skills. Um, so that free play, storytelling, incorporate music into their playing, into their life, and having it playing in the background, turning them the music on for their playtime to encourage them to engage with the music, with what they're playing. Invite them to do chores alongside you. Pull up a chair, let them wash dishes with you, let them cook with you. Let them do the grocery shopping. You can even have a little fake shopping list for them with pictures of things that they could be looking for at the store, and having that outdoor time. So we don't really need formal academic things at this age. Now, my daughter, my youngest, is currently 5. Last year, when she was 4, this last school year, she has 3 big siblings who are all much older than her. And so she wanted to do schoolwork. So I got her some basic workbooks. Um, that was, there were some coloring books that encouraged like following directions and learning to color some things. I used Explode the Code was just one, but I love Handwriting Without Tears. I didn't have, where we were living at the time, I didn't have a lot available to me, so I kind of used what was accessible because she wanted to learn her letters and numbers, but I let her lead in how long we spent on it. If she wanted to do one page and then move on, that was fine. We could do one page, but some days she loved 4 or 5, but I didn't worry about whether or not she remembered the letters. That wasn't the point. She's learning her pencil grip and she's learning the concept of left to right and just the basics of reading letters, numbers, all of that. But I wasn't testing her. I wasn't creating any sort of rigid structure for her. I was letting her tell me, here's what I'm interested in doing. Here's what I want to do. If I picked out books that she really didn't like, I didn't force her to sit and read them, but I would find ones that did engage her, going to the library and finding new books. So it's really a time, let them kind of tell you, because boys and girls too are going to develop differently. I think my son at 4, there's no way I could have gotten him interested in a workbook with letters. Like, not possible, right? Girls are different than boys. So go with what your child's interests are, what their needs are, and what they are just naturally geared for. Okay, so the next age group is that 5 to 6 years old. And this is where kids traditionally would enter kindergarten, first grade. And this is where parents start to feel really pressured. And depending on, see, like we're in Washington State, so the compulsory attendance for school isn't actually until 8 years old. You don't have to put them in school. You don't have to do anything formal. You don't have to do anything at all. You can literally just be at home with them until they're 8 years old. So you don't have to feel the pressure of putting your kid into kindergarten, especially if you don't feel like they're developmentally ready, especially if they have any kind of learning disabilities. Take your time, let them have some time to be a kid. I think our childhood is the shortest um, phase of our life. Let them have it as fully, as long as possible. Um, This is a time where some kids might really show a lot more interest in learning their letters and their numbers, but again, let their interest drive the teaching, the curriculum, the activities. And your main focus here is on the character building. And it's building those relationships, that communication. You're training good habits, you're developing listening skills, their creative expression, do lots of art and projects, let them explore what they like, what expression of art do they like, and let them really drive that in this time as well. Developmentally, they're still emerging as pre-reading skills. There's no reason to push. Now, I was five. Was I five, six? Yeah, I was about 5 years old when I learned to read. So this was years ago when we had records, and it was called, I don't think it might have been Hooked on Phonics, but this was like an old version. And they had these little books, and you put the record on, and you had a book, and it would tell you the letters and the sounds, and then it would read through, and I would put them on for myself and go through them. And my mom said, like, I basically taught myself to read with that because I loved it, but it was interest driven. My brother definitely wasn't interested in that at 5 years old. So, again, there's lots of games, there's lots of resources out there now. I encourage, there are learning apps, but again, it's a lot of instant gratification and super fun, and it's very like one dimensional. Um, I encourage reading programs to be taught through actual books, paper, something that they can touch and feel and hold, um, because it's a much different engagement level than it is when they're just looking at it through a screen and pushing a button. Um, so here we're working on that fine motor coordination, doing cutting activities are really good for developing fine motor skills. Art is a great way of developing writing skills without having to focus on writing. And this is a great time to set them up with their own chore chart. Have find things that they can be responsible for, because what you're doing is you're developing rhythm, you're developing routine, and you're developing the character that says, there's some things that you need to do. And right now it's chores, but later in life it will be schoolwork. This is what's required. So you do your responsibilities first and you get your privileges later. So we're building that habit in them that work needs to be done before playtime, that they need to be part of the running of the home because they're part of a family. They have an ability to contribute, they're significant, they're important, and you're really building that in them at this time. And so these are things that you can develop easily with the family, depending on the different ages. And there's lots of charts out there that tell you by age for development what chores are appropriate for the different ages. So I don't have that on here. But again, it's also going to depend on your family. We live on a small farm. We have chickens, and I trained my chickens to come when I call them. So they live in a little chicken tractor. They free roam, free range during the day, and then we bring them in the evening. And so I love sending my daughter out there. She's like, "Here are chickies," and they all come running in, and then she loves to feed them. Great chores. My mom takes her out to do chores with the animals there. So whatever you can involve your kids in throughout the day. It doesn't have to be chores just once a day, but spread it out for them. These are all really, really valuable skills, and you'll appreciate in your home having kids that contribute and do chores. Um, just a side note, I think all my kids started doing their own laundry between 8 and 10 years old. And I just turned it over to them, taught them how to do it, and then the consequences if they don't do their laundry, they don't have anything to wear, and it really doesn't matter to me. So I love having turned these things over to them. So do that, and the focus doesn't have to be on the academics. The focus is on who is this child that you are developing, um, and developing the character of them is going to far outweigh for the rest of their life the education that they received. Anybody can go back and read a book. Anybody can pick up a study. Anybody can find ways to learn as an adult. So even in their 12 years, 13 years of formal education, they will not learn everything. But if you create somebody who doesn't know how to learn, then you cripple them for the rest of their life. So this is the time to develop the character in that child, that not only will serve them for learning, but serve them in life and serve them for jobs, for relationships, for just being a successful human being. That is our goal. In the next webinar course that I'm going to teach, I'm going to focus on those kinds of goals and how to think 18, 20 years down the road, and how to backtrack those to the goals that you have for your kids now. So who are they now, and where do you want to get them to be? Because ultimately, that's going to be more important than their academics. Nobody is going to ask on their job resume what age they were when they started reading. Nobody's going to ask them if they skipped a grade, if they were even being on the dean's list. The only thing that really applies for is going to another university. So once we leave our formal schooling, none of these things that the world kind of puts a pressure on matter anymore. A lot of those just fall away. And so we want to remember, keep in perspective what we are actually doing as parents, what we are called to do and to be, and who we are called to raise them to be. Okay, next one, 6 to 7 years. So now we're really getting into the range of this is the time where they really start to kind of kick into learning. And they're, especially if it's interest-based, there's a lot of things that they love to learn about. Okay, but you're looking for things like, can they sit for 15 to 20 minutes at a time? Because you can always break up your day. So you can start with a writing lesson, break it up, have a break, do something else, and then come back and do a math lesson, break it up, come back a little bit and do a history lesson, right? So it's not that they have to sit for hours at a time, but can they sit for 15 to 20 minutes? Can they hold a pencil comfortably? Can they track with their eyes? All those things. That's what we're looking for in terms of readiness for a formal education. Some are going to be ready for short formal lessons, while others still need more time of growth. So again, you're creating an environment that is lots of reading aloud, narration, doing nature walks, involve them in life stuff, grocery shopping, comparing prices, especially as they learn to recognize numbers and values. And you go, okay, well, here's how that compares in real life. Is this number bigger than this number? So which one costs more? They can be checking things off the list at the shopping list. Great way to begin word recognition for them. Learning skills like cooking, and just continuing to nurture curiosity. And so at this age, I say, like, if they want to do school and you want to do some formal schooling with them, that's great. Stick with what they enjoy doing, and you don't even need to buy one curriculum set. You can find the subjects that they're interested in that work for them. Some are going to learn better through hearing, some through watching, some through doing. So as you learn that about your child, you want to use that to pick your curriculum, especially at these early years, and keep them interested. My son, I think, was 6 when he started to read. And some of this was because my first child, who's now 16, I really wanted her to read, and she had zero interest. And so my husband told me, you need to back off and let her have some more time. Okay, fine. Then he found a comic book for her that she really liked. And that was her motivation to learn how to read. Appalled me because I didn't like comic books and I thought they weren't worth reading. But it worked. And she still reads comic books, but she also reads other books as well now. And so it was that key of finding that book that was actually interesting for her. My son, he is number three of four kids. Um, I had my fourth kid during COVID, 2020. So the lead up to that, I was pregnant, I was sick, and I was running a business teaching. I was running my homeschool learning center, working fairly full time, teaching. I was in survival mode. So he kind of got whatever was going on at my learning center. He got exposure to things, but he didn't get a whole lot of direct teaching. I did some here and there, lots of activities, lots of fun things, hands-on stuff, but I didn't do any formal teaching. Then the 2021 school year started, and I started a new learning center of a more full-time one, and I put him in a reading class. And it was, I mean, literally, he didn't know his alphabet. Like, I hadn't done anything in that regard. He wasn't the sing-song kid, so, singing the alphabet, no, he didn't have it memorized. So the beginning of the school year was learning the alphabet and then learning phonetically how to read. I think it was about November of that school year that he was sitting down. We had a mixed age learning center, and he was sitting down with one of the other students. And I think we were learning about like medieval knights and things. And so I had a lot of different books at different levels. And for some of them, I found some really good picture books that, like they had words, but they're really good pictures of things. So I gave that to him and a friend of his. They were both kind of in that pre-reading. The book was beyond their level, but it was really good pictures. Well, I come over just to check on them and see what they're doing. And my son was reading the book. And I looked at it and I was like, is he just making that up? And these were words that were far beyond what I thought his capacity, like what he had learned in our little reading group. And that it surprised me, but it showed me how much when you let it happen at their rate, at their development, when it does, it clicks and off they went. And by the end of that school year, he was beyond his grade level. And I didn't have to do much other than give him a start, give him the tools. Like I said, it's important to teach them how to learn how to read. But then off he went. So that's just kind of my own anecdote, my own experience of the importance of letting them develop and not pushing them before they are ready. All right, so to kind of summarize these core needs during this time, play is learning. Play is learning. They learn about the world, they learn about nature, they learn about people, they learn about physics, they learn all kinds of things through just playing and taking them to different places to learn to play and climb in different environments. Okay, involve them in family work, chores, cooking, gardening, practical life. I mean, even if your husband's fixing something around or you're fixing something around, let them, learn what the tools are and involve them in the process. Um, Character before curriculum. So we're looking at building obedience, not just, a whipped child that doesn't never disobeys, right? But we're creating the value of obedience, kindness, attentiveness, and responsibility. It's a great time to build personal power, teaching them what they're responsible for in themselves, and how to take responsibility for the things that they do. If they make a mess, they're the ones that clean it up, not you. If they break something, uh-oh, what are we going to do to fix this? How are we going to repair that? If they are struggling with their peers, uh-oh, let's go back and work this out and model for them. That is all the most critical learning that they could learn, that they could get at this time. Stories and songs and scripture. There's great books. I think one of the best ways to teach kids to read is through Bible stories. And so involve those, weave those in, and they will become part of their mindset and how they think. And then, of course, what I was talking about pretty much already with play is that nature and movement. And being out in nature is so important for them. It's so grounding. Let them go barefoot even in the wintertime. That grounding work. I still remember when I first started my learning center, it was out of my house, and my son would have been, well, from birth up to when we started, when he started going to school. So I remember about 2 or 3 years old. He's just out in the driveway. I can still see him out in the driveway, and he is just jumping with all his might into a muddy puddle, and he is just covered in mud, and he is having the greatest time. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna let that be. And that was him everywhere we went, climbing in dirt. Um, and as it is, he still enjoys doing outdoorsy things. So we want to keep feeding that, and letting this time of being a kid be the time where they get to be a kid, because they won't get to be this age ever again. So use it, enjoy it. Here are some things that you can avoid. Comparing your child to public school standards. Um, do you know who created the public school standards? Not teachers, not psychologists or developmental experts. Lawmakers. Lawmakers have set the majority of our school standards, which means they are completely out of touch with the reality of child development. And they're out of touch with the pacing that kids can and should move. And these things are set to create a specific person by a specific time in a specific way. And that's all that it is designed to create. It is not designed to create an individual. It isn't designed to create personality or individual calling. It's just, here's what we are creating. So ditch those, don't compare to them. You want to avoid rushing academics when the child isn't ready. That leads to frustration. Like I said, if they really hate learning at an early age, they will, unless you can undo that and be really intentional about it, they might hate it for the rest of their life, right? We don't want to create this power struggle early on. And avoid overscheduling structured lessons instead of valuing the free play and the family life. So, you can have a basket of workbooks, coloring books, books to read, and ask them in the morning, hey, which one would you like to start with? Would you like to do some coloring? Would you like to do letters? Would you like to read books? And so that you're inviting them into that. With the little bit older ones, you can go, okay, we're going to do math, reading, and writing today. Which one do you want to do first? So you can give them a lot of choice, and you can set it in their environment where it's there, and when you're ready, you can go for it. If it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon, you can separate with play dates and outings. So it does not all have to be at once. Um, I think the average that I heard would be about 30 minutes per year, year per age, right? Until they get to about 10. So, no, I don't think that was right. I'm trying to remember what it was. I never really adhered to a specific thing, but they don't need very long, especially at the beginning. Once you hit that 8 to 10, you get a good couple of hours in there. That's about all you need. And they will probably do their work in less time than that. So, especially at this age, don't get too stuck into how much time you're spending on it. You want to look at, are they engaged? Are they growing? Are they learning new things? And that's how you're going to measure your success. Okay, so practical tips: establish the family rhythms. Um, Read aloud every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. It can be at bedtime, it could be during breakfast, anytime. Prioritize the outdoor time over workbooks. Follow your child's interest and focus on that connection, character, and curiosity as the foundation for later. Okay, covered a ton of information. If you want to screenshot this slide, or I can share some of these in the description of the video. These are great resources for these early years and figuring out how you want to approach this early education time. I referenced Better Late Than Early at the beginning. Fantastic stuff. Their book is out of print. You can find used copies, but there's also websites that summarize a lot of their methodologies and their research. They also did Homegrown Kids, and then there's For the Child's Sake. The Whole Brain Child is fantastic. And then I have a list of some curriculums that you can use just those very early years that are designed to be very gentle. They're not strictly academic and they're designed to be age appropriate. So you can take a look at some of those, do your own research. There's a great website called Kathy Duffy Reviews. I should have put it on there. But these this website reviews curriculum for all ages and all subjects. So you can go on there and you can find for the young ages as well. And it's all reviewed, it's detailed, so you can look at what all the different publishers and types of curriculum are out there. And lastly, utilize your library, nature journals, taking them out to draw in nature, get building toys and kits, art supplies, and give them real tools for chores. Give them rakes and shovels and things and involve them in real stuff. All right, so I'm going to leave you with this. You are not behind. I don't care what age or stage your kid is at. Even just recognizing, asking these questions, wanting to know how to set them up, you are doing exactly the right thing. You're building strong roots for lifelong learning, and that is far more important than grades or what school they go to or any of the accolades from the public school system. And gentle beginnings lead to joyful learners, and that ultimately is what we want to create in our children. So, you want to visit my website if you'd like to look more at one-on-one coaching, where I offer program development for parents and either in monthly coaching where I walk alongside people each month to work through your struggles, to work through troubleshooting, what's working, what's not working, do some assessments and work with your student on that level. That's all there on my website. There's also one-time program planning. So if you just want to get set up and then go on your way, there's that available as well. All right. And if I can get my mouse to work, I don't know why my mouse is disappearing. There we go. I'm going to come back here. All right. So at this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. I just threw a lot out at you at a rapid pace. So if there's anything that you still have questions on or anything related to homeschooling.
Yeah, I do. So I hope this doesn't come out of our focus because it's a little bit behavioral. But you were saying, excuse me, I love what you said because I feel like everything you said, I'm like, okay, I feel really confirmed that I'm doing everything right instinctually. Um, but my daughter is a very she just needs she I don't know how to describe it. Chevelle, she's almost 5 and she just will take every bit of your attention and your energy and focus all day. And there is no break from her, and it's very exhausting, especially now that I have other kids. I love her so much. I'm not trying to
No, I hear
say
you.
anything negative,
I hear you.
but a lot of what, especially with my last pregnancy, I had an iron deficiency that knocked me out, and I ended up turning so much to TV that she would get like 3 hours a day sometimes. Not every day, but it was like once we hit past that 1 hour mark, I start to feel this like anxiety crushing on me, like this conviction, like this is not good for her, and I know it. And
Right.
then I would turn it off, and she freaks out. And pretty much every day, all day, can I watch TV? Can I have the iPad? Can I watch TV? Can I watch a learning show, Mom? I'll just do a learning app. I'll
Yeah.
just do a learning game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like, no. no TV today. So then I went like, felt like I was going super radical on her, and I was like, we're getting rid of the TV. And I really feel good about that. I keep feeling like I circle back to this idea that I'm going to completely get rid of it altogether and we'll only use it for family movie nights, but then it still exists, right? If we
Yeah.
just do family movie nights. So the struggle is like limiting screen time, or do I just not let her have it? So that's the first part of my question. The second part is that usually what I do, you said not to put like a requirement on teaching her, right? So I don't want to require her to do schoolwork, but when I'm trying to get her to do things, I'll say, you can watch TV if you clean, do your
Yeah.
chores,
Yeah.
then you do, usually her homework would be like a little page out of a coloring book with like some stuff, or write her name a few times on the whiteboard. Oh, okay, we've arrived at home, so you insist I get him out immediately.
That's okay. How old did you say?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. How old did you say she is?
Oh, just a second. I took it off and now it's not on speaker there. She's almost 5.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
getting you right now. So
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
almost 5. She's very smart. She can write the whole alphabet. She knows it. She loves the read to you books from the library. We actually get those, and that's how I'm
Nice.
sure she'll teach herself to read too. She's so incredibly easy. Um, but the challenge always comes down to behavior and how personalities seem like we're just
Yes.
constantly fighting. I know,
Yes.
I'm getting you out. Oh my gosh, I lost you. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, no, that's so I would in that situation, regarding the screens, I mean, it depends on who you what research you look at. I mean, there's people who go so far as to say like no screens until, 5 or whatever, I don't know. Ridiculous. It's
Right.
kind of unfortunately, like I know moms just don't always have the help that we need. I was the same way with my pregnancies. I was so sick. I was just trying to function, and you're doing what you got to do. So,
Yeah.
you know what?
Right.
You
Right.
you you kept everybody alive. You grew babies, and that is celebrated, right? And so what you're
Yeah.
doing now is
Right.
you're going, okay, that's not the season we're in anymore, so we're not going to do 3 hours of TV now. And so yeah,
Right.
I encourage that screen detox. I think it's a great idea to just kind of pull back a lot and then use it, at the end of the week or on really special occasions. Um, and so I would encourage lots of engaging sensory things. So like Play-Doh, there are you can make like Play-Doh mats. So let's say like you have, gosh, you could even use a Ziploc bag. Okay, so you've got a piece of paper printed out with large letters on it, and you put it
Oh,
inside
I
the
love
Ziploc
that.
bag. You have them roll out the dough in the shape of the letters.
Oh,
Um,
I love that.
and there are different like page protector things you can get even, or yeah, just and give her lots of sensory things. Same with you can use where did I get? I had these really cool page protectors. It was like really thick, but it was clear plastic and the paper goes in it, and then you can use like dry erase markers and she can be tracing letters and it's not
Oh,
consuming
yeah.
the paper, right? But they love doing that. Dry erase markers are great on windows. So, you know
Oh,
what?
really? No
Even wet
way.
erase. Yeah, wet erase markers. And then she gets to learn how to clean it up, you
Well,
know?
we have a giant whiteboard, and so that's usually where I plop her. But okay. So you're already answering the question, but that is my question. See, we've got this. How do I do this? Yeah. We've got this
Oh,
huge
fun.
whiteboard.
Yeah.
And so that's where she spends a lot of the time playing. But I just don't know how to constantly keep like, okay, I give her a task and it's maybe 15 minutes and then she's bored out of her mind and she kind of like tortures the whole family if she's bored. And I'm hearing that it's good for her imagination to be bored. But
Yes.
how do
but
we
it's
all
torture for
survive her
you.
boredom? Yes, how do we survive that?
So, that's a tricky one. A lot of it's going to be a bit of trial and error, but what you want to do is build her independence. So, looking at, okay, what is she seeking with that behavior? Um, and then, so is it attention? Is it more entertainment?
Yeah.
Gonna have to look at, what is it that she's really wanting out of it, and then build up her resilience and her endurance to be able to go longer and longer. So having a basket of, or baskets, bins, whatever, of things that here you can go pick from these activities right now, and put a timer on the table, and she has
Mhm.
to pick one activity and do it for 10 minutes. She can't change it until that clock's done. Um,
Oh,
and then build in a natural reward for it. After you've done two of these activities with the clock, and there's tons of different timers on Amazon. There's like sand clocks. There's ones that are really easy to set. There's these ones that are like a block, and they have different like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and whatever one is on top, you push a button and start it. Like super simple, right? So she doesn't have to,
yeah.
you don't have to spend a lot of time setting it. Just a little timer. Okay, you're gonna do an activity for this, or activities from this basket, however you want to structure it, for this length of time. And then there's it's called the when then tool. In my last video, I talked about it. Um,
Oh, good. Okay.
when you do this, then you get this, or then we can do. So when you've done two of the activities from these baskets, then you can go have a snack. When you've done these lessons, you can go play outside, or you can, whatever her reward is. You sit on mommy's lap, whatever,
Yeah.
it's, so you set an achievable framework for her, with consequences, or, rewards, that follow. And then you slowly over time, you kind of extend the period of time that she has to do those activities or use that basket of different things. So you can have a basket that's kind of art stuff. You can have a basket that's tactile. You can have a basket that's coloring books and work pages, books to read. And so you're building it up, and if she comes, it's gonna take some training and it's gonna take some time. But
Uh-huh.
if she comes up to you, go, is your timer done yet? Oh, I guess you're not done. And then you're gonna have to kind of, in a way, ignore her. And if she chooses, Danny Silk's fabulous at this. If she chooses to then throw a fit because she's not getting what she wants, you can say, uh-oh, do you want to be nice? Do you want to be fun? Or do you want to go to your room?
That's from Danny Silk's daughter, huh?
Yep. I love, well, Danny
Yeah.
Silk does
Use
that
that
too.
tool.
I love that. And so then, especially if that's something you already use, so then
Yeah.
she knows that if she's going to be in the room with you, she has to be fun. And throwing a
Yeah.
fit isn't fun.
And I have to be nice about it because I use that tool, but sometimes I get angry, and then
Yeah.
her going to her room is probably the worst thing that could ever happen to her. She hates that.
Okay,
So
good.
something that I'm concerned about with using that tool is that sometimes when she's having really big emotions, I'll put her in her room, and then I feel like I'm telling her, you can't be around me with your big emotions. Uh, so the Lord is conditioning me on how to manage my emotions and teach her how to manage hers.
Yes, I totally get what you mean, because you're
Yeah.
you're not trying to isolate your child and reject them for having emotions.
Yeah.
But what you teach is,
Don't eat
here's
it.
an
Don't eat it.
appropriate way to express your emotion. So if she's yelling and screaming, absolutely not. Nope. If you're going to
Yeah.
yell and scream, you're going to do that in your room. I am not listening to that. That doesn't get to be in my space. But when you're ready to talk about what you want, when you're ready to ask questions nicely, when you're ready to be fun, then we can talk about it. And so, you can ask, like, do you want a hug right now? Do you want mommy's blanket? You can give her things that help provide some comfort, but you draw the line at if you are rude, disrespectful, mean, if she's hitting you, I don't know what her tantrums look like, then
Yeah,
you
hitting,
you
scratching,
draw a
screaming.
line and you say, nope, this gets you in your room. And when you're ready to be nice again, then you can come out. And
Mhm.
Awen has thrown some serious, I mean, screaming at the top of her lungs, being
Yeah.
separated. But
Yep.
it was like, nope, I will talk about your feelings. I will listen to what you want, but I'm not going to be screamed at in my face
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
clawed at or pulled on or
Yeah.
whatever the. So you can find whatever those. Uh-oh, I think we lost her.
Oh, looks like she got off, I
It
think.
looks
I don't
like
know.
probably pushed the button on accident. Oh.
hmm Gosh, that's such great advice. Would that also work for a 10-year-old daughter too that's bored out of her mind, wants her friends, or I don't know, she just doesn't want any, she doesn't like any hobbies or anything. It's maybe she'll play a little bit with slime and then the rest of the time it's, friends or phone or whatever, and then it's really hard for me to like get her to do anything. And
So you utilize that.
um,
That's her currency. So we can set up a play date
yeah,
on this day when you've gotten X, Y, and Z. Have a chart.
yeah,
Check it off. When all of these lessons, all this schoolwork is done, all these chores are done, on this day, you get a play date. If you haven't finished all of these, then you don't get the play date and it gets pushed to next week or whatever.
yeah.
Um, I have a kid like that too, where it's just like they just constantly want to just be with people and hang out with friends. And so you use that currency for the when then type of thing.
Okay.
And it teaches them that their behavior controls their opportunities. So you're outlining it, and if she chooses not to do it, then that's her loss, not yours.
Yeah.
Because you're fine not taking her to a play date, right? That doesn't matter to you.
Yeah. No, yeah, that I did notice that. Yeah, they'll do anything and everything for incentives. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
you're teaching responsibility. It's not bribery. Because you're not saying, "Oh, would you please okay, fine, I'll give you this if you will just." No,
Yeah.
you're saying, "Here's what's required. Schoolwork has to be done. You may choose the order that you do your schoolwork in. You may choose which subjects you do. You can um you can pick how long it takes you to get this done. Here's what needs to be done today. Here's your chores, and here's what's needed in order for me to be able to take you." The other thing, and Sky, I don't know if this will work quite at her age, is I have had to tell my kids, you know what, your behavior has cost me so much time. I now can't take you to the park because I have work to do. I have to clean my house. I have to other things that I need to get done. So I utilize kind of leveraging that and teaching them like if you're gonna throw fits and you're gonna fight back with me, well then that's a timer. And in fact, I think it's Bethany Serpel, Danny Silk's daughter, who she calls it hassle time. I love this. And she starts going, "Oh, I'm feeling hassled," and she'll start a timer. And as long as it takes them to stop being, whether it's bickering, fighting in the car, sibling rivalry kind of stuff going on, just irritating, not listening, "Oh, I'm feeling hassled." And that's all she'll say. And she sets a timer, and then she decides what is each minute worth. Each minute might be worth 10 minutes of chores, whatever it is. Or you can decide what it is. Doesn't have to happen right away. It could be the next day. It's great because then, especially for those older kids, they learn to hear that. And you just set that timer and let it run. Man, they've got about 4 hours of chores to do this week before they get to go. And then you need to have the things that matter to them. So if it's the play dates, if it's, sports things that they like to do, outings, phone access, all that kind of stuff comes after they have fulfilled their responsibilities and then paid for any consequences that they racked up during the week. So
We should send that book over to Anna because it's such a good book.
I love that book. I listen to her podcast too. So the Imperfect
Oh
Parenting
yeah.
podcast is really good.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I like
I forgot about the podcast. I'm gonna write that
Danny Silk
down.
has one. And then he also has his website. Um, Loving on purpose.
Yes, I think
I
so.
think that's what it is. And he has courses. So he has his like parenting course and you can take his parenting. It's like
Mhm.
$8 a month. You have access to all of his courses. And so I did that for a little while and just kept using them. So yeah, those are good. Um,
Shell.
Didn't I tell you? Did you hear what she said?
no, what'd she
I
say?
went to watch a show.
Oh.
She just came in and proved my point, huh?
And then you say, well, we can watch a show, either it's not today or after this or when this is done. And even just a simple, no, we're not going to watch a show today.
Yeah, I do
And then
that, and I get a very big, large meltdown.
so that's where, oh, I'm so sorry that you're choosing to not be fun right now. You can go be not fun in your room or outside. You pick. And if you don't pick, I'll pick for you. You
Yeah.
know, so you're conditioning that her responses, um, it matters. And you say, I'm so sorry you're feeling sad. I'm so sorry you're feeling hurt. I'm sorry that you're feeling, XYZ, help her name the emotion. But you still draw the line at in that you don't get to treat me this way. This isn't, that's not pleasant for anybody to be around. Um, and so she will learn to have to kind of regulate and choose differently. She's
She
pushing.
just tried to turn the phone. Yeah, she's trying to get me off of there. She's like, "Don't listen to that lady."
Yeah, right? She's boring. I don't, yeah. I don't
I'm
like what
like,
she's
"Oh
saying.
no, I don't like that.
I don't like that.
That
Yeah.
doesn't
That's funny.
that doesn't sound fun. You want a snack?" No, not right now.
Yeah. So either questions from any other questions?
Well, yeah, so you mentioned, through age 7. So how difficult would it be if I have not homeschooled the kids prior to this, right? To take them out of school and put them in homeschool now. I know the curriculum would be a lot harder. It's, I can't just sit them down and,
Right.
let's paint and color,
No. No, this is
Okay,
draw.
let's
definitely
not go
geared
on
for
the
the
phone.
early when to start, how to start
Yeah.
them early. But for that age, I mean, yeah, but I mean it's very similar though. You just scale it to their age. So
Gotcha.
what I go through, and I'll go through in the next video, is how to pick your curriculum based off of your goals.
Hmm.
And you can have family goals, you can have overarching goals for your kids, but then you can have individual goals. So, like for your son with his ADHD, doing executive function skill building is going to be a really critical thing for him. So, even more important than learning history and all that is going to be teaching him how to manage his time, how to even manage emotions or whatever his symptoms are that really come out. And so you can incorporate that into it. And it will take some time, like I said, to deschool them, where you have to kind of let them come out of the mode of public school and the structure. But you get a lot of buy-in when you find things that are interesting to them.
Hmm.
Now, to be honest, I have kids who are like, I don't want to learn anything.
Yeah, my
Great.
kids,
Then
yes.
I will pick for you. I've given them the choice. If they don't want to pick, I'll pick for you because the schooling part isn't optional. How much fun you want it to be can be up to you. So they can, they'll learn that they need to have some say. And you're like, well, you had the opportunity to speak into that when I was picking the curriculum, and since I've already picked it, we're going to follow through, and this is what it's going to be. And then they will learn next
Hmm.
time. They better speak up and have some input. But to be honest, a lot of kids, when I would work with high school students, I'd ask them, what do you want to study in history? What do you want to study in science? And they would go, I don't know, because they genuinely had no idea what was optional. They had no
Hmm.
idea what was out there. They didn't know there was a study of plants and stars and water and nope. They had no idea that there were different periods of time that they could study wars throughout history, or they could study women in history, or they could because they hadn't been exposed to it.
Hmm.
So some of it, they don't know what to pick because they don't know what their options are. So you kind of go through based off of what you know about your kid, and you can find books, programs, curriculum, classes, stuff that you know would pique their interest. And then I sometimes require them to do or to read books that they're not interested in because I want to expand them a little bit and go, you don't know that you don't like it because you've never done it. You've never read it. You've never encountered it in any way. So how do you know you don't like studying space? You don't know anything about it, right? So
Mhm.
you can kind of do some expanding, and you could do that through field trips or videos or however to expose them to different studies, different topics, so that they uh, broaden their understanding of what they can learn. So, yeah, very likely at first your kids are going to be very apathetic about school because it's literally just been something that they just had to get up and go do. Now you're going to make it matter to them. So, um, my last video will probably be helpful for you too. It's on, I just uploaded it this morning. I can share the link on my YouTube. It was literally the first one that I published on there. Talking about attitudes and behaviors. And my kids were both, and I totally stole this from Danny Silk, but we started doing online schooling this year, and both of my kids were like failing and the first couple of weeks.
Mhm.
But I was okay because I knew there would be a learning curve. I knew there would be a transition time. They would have to learn how to do the website and how I knew that. So I wasn't panicked. But I showed them individually, I showed them their grade reports, and I was like, "What do you think about this?" And they're like, "Oh, that's not good." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What, it's like, but that's okay. It's up to you." And they're like, "What?" I said, "Well, you can repeat eighth grade as many times as you need to in order to pass it."
Mhm.
I don't want to do eighth grade again. Okay. Well, then what do you think you need in order to improve your grades? How can I help you? How can I support you? What do you think you could do differently? Okay. And so we're still in a process. It's getting better. And so grades have improved. There's still some things they have to go back and redo. And I had to talk to my daughter today and say, look, if you want to pass, you're going to have to start getting these questions more correct the first time because what it does is it goes on and I can see all the things, the incorrect answers, and I can send them back to her. So if she fails a quiz or a lesson or whatever and doesn't get a passing grade on it, I kick it back to her and she has to redo it.
Mhm.
I'm like, these are going to start to really pile up, and you have to complete your core subjects for school this year. So if you don't, you're redoing this. So there's power in her hands. And I just keep telling her, how can I help you? How can I support you? So we're going to sit down and look at some more study skills of how she can read and study her material better. But she had to come to the place where she wanted that. And I made her want it by making it an option to redo eighth grade if she wants to. No kid wants to redo their grade
Mhm.
level. Um, so yeah, there's a bit of that, giving them some of the power. How can you empower them to choose as much as possible? Not bribing, not manipulating, but where can you give them choice so that they actually do want to choose it?
Okay. And you said that the next video that you or the next lesson or something that you will have, it would be on how to choose curriculum.
Yep.
So
So
yeah, so
next
my
Wednesday.
questions would be how to connect like, so if there's certain subjects that a student needs to know at a certain grade level, and then is there like testing that needs to be done through the state to see kind of where they're at, or even the grades, like, how does that work? Do we submit any kind of work anywhere?
So Washington state
Um,
laws are that there are 12, gosh, it's been a while since I've gone over this.
mhm,
There are requirements, and you can look up the Washington state homeschool requirements and it'll pop up.
mhm,
It's pretty they're really good. They're really good laws. So there are 12 core subjects, I think it's 12, that you have to do in the school year. You don't have to do them
mhm,
every day. So I used to be able to rattle them off, but there's social studies, math, reading, writing. I think spelling, they broke it up into a couple like
mhm,
spelling, um, uh, occupational ed, art, or music. So it's all,
Science. Yeah.
yeah, so you just, yeah, science. So
Mhm.
just at some point during the school year, you have to cover those. So doing a unit study, done. If your kids are not that into music, do a unit study on it, get a book done. You've met the requirement. You either have to submit a declaration of intent to say that you're
Mhm.
homeschooling, or and um, you have to submit the declaration of intent, and then you have to have 45 college credits or more, or work with a certified teacher like myself, as what I used to do with the Learning Center is I had the teacher then has contact, is it an hour a week of contact with the student to just kind of monitor and, progress and stuff. So those are the parent requirements of either 45
Mhm.
college credits or more, or work with the certified teacher. And you can work with a certified teacher anyways, do the declaration of intent, meet the 12, I think it's 12 core subjects, and then you have to have 180 school days in your year. But they don't care. They don't do, it's not like, well, between September and June. Nope, just a school year. So, that can, if you want to work through the summer, you can do that. And so I think that's trying to think what else. So, oh, and
You
then there is,
said, can I ask you a quick question?
yes.
You said 45 college credits, like for teaching or just any
No,
credit?
just they just want you to have some background of education.
Education. Oh,
Yeah.
nice,
And
nice.
yeah,
Okay,
and it just needs to
thank
be the
you.
supervising parent. So let's say you don't have it, but your husband does. Well, just have him give the nod of
Yeah,
approval of what you're doing, right?
yeah.
So um and then you need to either do standardized testing or a non-test assessment at the end of the school year. Again, that's something that I used to do and I can do again. I would do non-test assessments, and what I would do is I would have the parent, I would work with the parent. I would have them go through each subject. What did you work on? What did you do? Show me samples of their work from the beginning of the year, the end of the year, so that I can see progress. What books are they reading? What level are they reading at? And just write a narrative. And then you turn nothing in. In Washington State, you don't have to turn anything in. Nobody will ever come and check on you. You just want to have it just as a precaution if anything ever came up that you wanted to, you know, yeah. So yeah, it's Washington is very, very homeschool friendly. And I think we have good guidelines because they do require that parents teach a certain amount of subjects and things, but they also, in terms of how you teach that, totally up to you. What curriculum you use, completely up to you.
Is there like certain amount of hours that needs to be spent on, let's say, a certain subject like science,
No, so it's
writing?
180 days or 1,000 hours or something. Um, it's been a while since I've reviewed the laws, but no, there is no set amount you have to per subject. So, like I said, if your kids aren't that interested in I don't know, science or whatever, you do a
Hmm.
unit study. Okay, we're going to study bugs and we're going to get a little unit on bugs, and then you've checked the box for science. Um, art, you could have an art day once a week where you go on YouTube and you watch an art video, and there you go. I used to do that. Chores, cooking. The thing about homeschooling is it's very flexible in what you can put under each of those subjects. So as long as they're learning something, it fits in the homeschool. If they're
Okay.
cooking with you, if they're going to the museum, if they are reading books, if they are literally doing anything that involves using some skills, developing, hey, it's homeschool. So it's pretty easy to meet those hours and days requirements. So,
Good stuff. Good stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's great. And you said the next video is, or your next like Zoom call is going to be on choosing a curriculum?
I'm going to do like how to get started in homeschooling. So,
Okay.
what I'm going to do is go over my philosophy is that it should be um, goals based. So, you start, how to set goals for your kids. so that when you're picking curriculum, it's not just willy-nilly. You're not just out there because there's thousands of options,
Yeah, it's very
right?
overwhelming.
So who is your kid? Who are you,
Dada.
wanting to develop in them? What do you want them to be able to do and be as an adult? And so it's setting the goals so that then your curriculum, your schedule, your program, all of that is based off of you being able to accomplish what you need based off of your values, your family, rhythm, and structure, and all of that kind of stuff because there is no one set way to do it, and there's no one curriculum that works for everybody. So then, yeah, but then basically at that point, I turn people over to Kathy Duffy Reviews, that website, and I say, go peruse, and based off of your child's learning style and your goals, pick your curriculum. And but there's things like budget and time, and some curriculums are super intensive and others are really loose. So you just take all those things into consideration when you're picking. So that's kind of what I'll be going over. And so like how to schedule a day, how to set up a program. I'm going to try to cover all of that in an hour, so it'll be like kind of the introductory to it, but to at least get you thinking about how to like what questions to ask, what things to look for, all of that kind of stuff.
When is that Zoom? Would I be able to join on that
Yes,
one?
that one is going to be next Monday at 3 o'clock.
Next Monday, 3 o'clock.
Yes. And then I will record it. And you know what I realized?
Hmm.
I never pressed record again after I
Oh
did
no.
I know. So I'm gonna have to re-record this. So you guys gave me the good practice run. The next one I'll
Mhm.
be more polished and not have technology problems, maybe. I'm like, so yay, fun.
Monday the 6th.
Yes.
Okay. So
Hang on.
I have so I won't be available that day. Would I be able to get the recording for that one?
Yep, it's gonna go on my
You
website, on my YouTube.
website.
Sorry, yes,
Okay.
sorry, on YouTube. So I might be I can look it up. I can actually send it to you in a chat.
Okay.
Um,
I
I
have
can't,
a
I can't, baby. I'm nursing the
I have
baby.
a favor to do for my husband that day, so I won't be in town.
um,
And then can you also send just a link to your YouTube so I can watch last week's?
yes, so that's what I'm gonna look up right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, to
This is so, so helpful. Thank you
oh,
so
good.
much.
Yeah, I
Well, and I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it because so like I've been doing consulting and well, I mean I took a couple years
No,
off
that's
when we moved, but I did it for 15 years, and so I'm kind of getting well, I am getting back into it, but in a very different format, and so this format and all this is very new to me. Um,
well, I would say I'm impressed by your ability to present
okay,
this as you're a very good teacher, obviously.
Hmm.
thank you.
So I'm like, wow, she's very good at this.
I just really need to master my technology. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah, I
that's
think we all need to do that so it doesn't master us.
seriously. Okay. Copy link. There we go. As I sit here going, how do I get it to work? Okay. Okay. So I just sent it in the group chat. To open that, save it in a new
Perfect.
video. Um, so that's the first one. I'll re-record this one. Now that I've gone through, it'll be really quick and easy. And then I will post this again. And then next week I will record that one and I will remember. Oh, wait, it does say recording. Maybe it is. I wasn't going to put the Q and A's on there anyway, so in case you're wondering, um,
Okay, you'll take off the end part.
yeah, I'm just gonna end it after that part.
Oh.
So maybe it is
Yeah,
recording.
I thought you said, oh, let me re-record now that I fixed it. I
Okay,
remember you
maybe I
saying
did. I
that.
just thought that button had normally I see it up there, and unless I move my mouse, it does. Okay, well, yay. Maybe I don't have
Mhm.
to re-record it. Um,
For some reason, the YouTube thing, it won't open the studio.youtube, right? It just says
oh, that's not the
something
one.
went
That's not the
wrong.
link. Say technology. That's not the link. Okay.
Okay.
Um, I need it to take me to the actual video. Okay, I'm gonna do this.
And then you said on your website, so any support or anything that you offer as help, right? You would have the information on your website as well. Of
Yes, so that is what I'm trying to find. I gotta do one thing at a time here.
course.
Oop, okay, that's that. Now I can go to my page and this one, share, copy. Let's try this again. I don't know why it gave me the studio link instead of, obviously, I don't need to share the studio link with people. I want the video link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one should work. And you guys can become my first subscribers, and then I'll have somebody following me. Then, so I'm gonna sit on
hmm
here. So I'm starting a Christian life coaching thing. And so Daughter Rise, which you see on my screen, that is
hmm
my coaching business. And recently I was like, you know what? I need to just get back into homeschool consulting because I love it and it's a real easy thing to get back into.
hmm
So that's why I kind of lumped it onto the side of that. So you'll go to my website and you'll be like, this doesn't these two things have nothing to do with each other. There will be some like
No.
but one of the things I'm really looking forward to is I'm putting together a course. So it'll be probably a few weeks, several weeks long, but I'm going to do a video course on how to bring inner healing into parenting.
Oh wow. Yes. Oh
'Cause I've
my
never seen
gosh.
anybody teach that. And
You're
so,
on it because I
so
totally was trying to figure out Sage had an experience with rejection at a birthday party and I'm like
Mhm.
he was
how do I
crying
do
and
this?
everything and I'm like how do I even function like inner healing with a kid that's never, I'm not sure how to do that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, that's good validation for me. But yeah, I learned, learned inner healing. And then I'm still learning parenting. And then I'm like learning to
Right.
incorporate the principles and the elements of inner healing into parenting so that
Mhm.
we don't just have these wounds as we grow up. Like we can actually
Right.
heal them now. They don't have to be things that we carry.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to
Like
be the
that.
star of my kids' inner healing growing up.
And you will be like you will, all parents are going to be the focus of inner healing at some point because
Right.
it's just, but there are
Yeah,
things
there's no
that
going around it.
But there are things that we can do that one, not only it helps heal them, but then it helps create the lifestyle. I mean, can you imagine as a kid learning how to connect with Jesus to heal your emotional wounds? Like even just the equipping and the maturing that will happen in them learning to do that is
Right.
huge. And I wish I
Right.
had it earlier with my kids. I wished I'd implemented it sooner. I wish, but anyways,
Mhm.
that's been my journey of healing as well in the parenting. And Sky knows a bit about what I've been going through the last couple of months that have really, like, I actually wrote the course before the summer started, couldn't even begin to
Right.
work on
Yeah.
actually filming it. And now I'm like, well, Lord, thank you, because now I'll carry a deeper anointing for that topic.
Right.
Because of all that I went through. So I'm like, I just feel that like now is the time, now is the time, now is the time. So,
Mhm.
I feel that really too in my own personal things that now is there's an urgency of like this is it. It's that Kairos moment, right?
yes,
I
yeah. And
really
so
feel that too.
there will be overlaps. I brought all that up just to say that there will be overlaps between one of my main focuses in the life coaching is to be able to take people, kind of my pitch is like, how you read book after book and you think this will give me the key and you take courses and you watch videos and you think, oh, this will be the change. This will be the thing that actually
Right.
makes things work. But a week later, you're back into old habits and
Yes.
nothing is sticking. You can't finish the book. You feel the shame, the condemnation. You can't do it. You can't pick up the tools. So
Yes.
what I do is walk alongside with people to go, what's keeping you from being able to pick up the parenting book, the marriage book, the school book, I mean, go back to school, the finances, the business, whatever, so that you can
Mhm.
unlock being able to use those tools.
Yeah.
And so that's where there definitely is some crossover of being able to parent in a healthy way, being able to homeschool without triggers, being able to, there's
Mhm.
crossovers of we do have to be healthy. It is critical that we as moms are healthy in order to parent healthy. That dads are healthy too, but we're talking to
Mhm.
moms here. And that's my
Right.
main focus is so there is some crossover in that idea of I don't want you to just homeschool. I want you to thrive. I want you to have a healthy home, emotionally, physically, spiritually, academically, and all those things. So that's kind of eventually I hope to create more connections and bridges between the two topics.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, for now, it's just kind of getting started and you know, getting it out there. And I've never been a real big social media fan, so I have zero following. I have no audience because I didn't. Who would need to follow me? I'm like, why would I
Right.
want
Right.
anybody? And so is the whole learning curve of getting this out there because
Right.
it's needed. So,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, Sky and I will follow you.
yay!
Yeah,
Thank
I already subscribed. I'm ready. I'm here with
you.
you. We're on
Thank you.
board.
No, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you ladies joining me today because it really helps to have that like engagement with people. And hi, Chevelle.
She wanted to she wanted to show her face. Say hi.
I know Awen always does that. She like creeps up and she loves to see herself on the screen, you know?
Yeah.
Always makes
Right.
pretty faces, you know? Um,
There you go.
so yeah. And one of the things, one idea I had, I don't know if you know other people, is you know how we'd have like Tupperware parties and like Mary Kay parties? I
Oh
want to
yeah.
do like a homeschool party, but we can do it virtually or in person if the people are local, where there's like 5 or 6 women who all want to learn about a specific topic with inner healing and then do a
Oh,
group
come on, baby.
like coaching type session and do this, but geared specifically towards what is it that you want to learn um, or grow in or, whatever, and kind of throw either a virtual party or an in-person party with the group. And they could be your friends, so they're not strangers, they're not weirdos.
Right.
Mhm.
So
So
just
it's not just thrown up on social media with an ad, and whoever comes on, right?
exactly, exactly. So it
That's
can be,
cool.
yeah, yeah. And
That
so
sounds really fun. I like that.
Careful.
So, yeah, and then cost wise it can be because like to
Careful.
do the consulting, I actually don't remember what I put on my website, but there's a cost for time in consulting
Right,
and
right.
all of that. And so in doing a group one, each person contributes and it's not as much as paying for the
Hi.
whole thing yourself. Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Joey. How are you?
I love all the babies looking at each other.
Yeah. Is that Zoe from church?
Chevelle, hi, Chevelle. How are you doing?
Miss Anna. You say hi.
I'm actually going to go ahead and stop the recording now that I know it's actually